Welcome back. Episode 23 of the Montreal Expos Draft to Glory, starting in the year 1901 and trying to win as many championships as we can only through the draft. No free agents, no trades, no international signings, only by drafting players. We started in an inaugural draft where we put all the historical players randomly into the game. They can show up at any time. Roger Clemens, we can have Willie Mays, Ty Cobb, Honus Wagner. They just might show up at any time. And in the inaugural draft, the Montreal Expos took some of the worst players possible simply because we wanted the biggest challenge and we're trying to build up from that. We did win a championship in 1908, so we got one, but nothing much after that. Here we are in 1915, and we play the opening day from the last episode, losing 3-2 to Pittsburgh. So without wasting any more time here, let's go on and finish off the first month. Let's get through April and see how this Expos team will do. And again, we'll take a look at the lineup. Talked about the changes that we made for the 1915 season last episode, and we'll see where we're at here. It is May 1st. Again, I don't spend a lot of time going through the player development updates. You can see them on the screen right here. Bob Chance making an improvement. Cal Daniels, 32 years old. We're going to see a decline in him, so we're kind of looking out for another first base, outfield, wherever we might want to play Cal Daniels. There is no DH, so we can't simply put him in a DH position. Again, we are on random talent generation, so we don't know if a player is going to have a similar sim season as a real life season. We could have a bust of a Ty Cobb, or we could have a player coming out of nowhere that didn't really perform well in real life, because we've got a high talent generation, random generation. And in OOTP, we're using their engine. We're not recalculating based on their real life stats every 3 years, simply because I think that's too easy, because then we know the type of player we're going to get. And if we draft Willie Mays, we know we're going to get, okay, down the line, we're going to get a really good Willie Mays. So that's off. We're using just a random generation because, again, it makes it more interesting. You have to scout players a little bit more, watch their statistics over the years, and be a little bit more alert, not just kind of wait like, okay, Willie Mays is going to start taking off in 2 years. I can be patient. We can't do that. All right, here we are at the end of April. And what do we got going on here? Montreal Expos are 7-10. Again, we're drafting, good players out of the draft. We're getting 4-star potential players, 3-star potential players, but they don't seem to develop properly, and we can't find players that have really good defense. And I think defense is the key at this point to our progression and trying to get better. Roy Halladay 0-4. That's not Roy-like. Scott Stratton 3-3. Ted Kennedy still doing really well. So Ted, you're going to get a promotion. You're going to go up to the number 1 pitching spot. You've been our rock. You've been on the team right from day one. Look at that. Almost a 500 record, Ted. Come on. I know you were on Montreal in those really lean years where you took a lot of losses. Let's try and get you up to 500. 34 years old. You're probably getting close to retirement. So let's finish so that you get a shot at the Hall of Fame with at least a 500 record. Maybe one more championship. In terms of our hitters, here you see here, we'll go based on stats after the first month. We want to have major league stats. 333 for Paul Molitor. Again, he's been a really good player for us. Other than that, 375 for Plantier in a backup role. Maybe we got to put him in. How old is he? Where is he? 31 years old. He can't really, again, he's not, look, he can't play defense. I don't want to risk it and put him in for a little bit of a bat. Our bat is usually not a problem. I know it's early in the year, so we got to take these things with a grain of salt. We'll check in later and see kind of where we rank in all of those categories. All right, let's go to the end of May. Right now, we are 6.5 games back. Let's see if we can get within 5. Baby steps. Let's see if we can get to within 5 games. Otherwise, I'm kind of at a loss. And when you can't trade or sign free agents, you're stuck with the players that you have. Other than moving players up and down in the minors, not much you can do. All right, Manny Seguin has dropped a little bit. Spike Manera, 38 years old. Jack Buchelman and Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. has improved a little bit. 19 years old. Again, not going to rush him. Going to keep him in Double A. He's hitting .318. And when we look at our minor leagues, really there's not a lot of players we can move up. When we sort by overall, our lowest is 1.5 stars. And in the minors, I mean, we have a catcher, but we already have 2 catchers better. We have a shortstop, but we have a shortstop better. First baseman, but we have first baseman better. So no one really in the minors that are going to make a big difference for us other than Ken Griffey Jr., who's going to finish in Double A. We're going to move him to Triple A next season, have him play a couple seasons there, and maybe call him up as a 21, 22-year-old. In Rookie League, we've got a 17-year-old that I'm leaving in Rookie. He's way too young to go to Double A because we don't have a A+ or we don't have a single A. So you're going right from Rookie to Double A. And that's going to be too big of a jump. And I don't want him to drop in terms of his ratings. So apparently he hasn't played anything yet. So we got to check that out. Why Lockman does not have any games in Rookie, because he should. They should be. Maybe they haven't started their season yet. Let's go to the batters. Rookie League. Okay. They haven't got underway. They start later on this month. So after the month of June, let's take a look at our standings here. Montreal is within 3.5. So we've made some progress. Really, really good news. 3.5 games out. Chasing the Cubs and the Pirates. And in the AL, looks like the Yankees, Tigers, Guardians. Yeah, it's everyone except Philadelphia is doing well in the AL. Okay, before we move on and go to July, it is time to do our draw from the last contest. In episode number 22, I had asked you guys to name a player in the first round of that draft. And the entries all got players correct. So they are all entered in. We have 4 people entered in. Ishvik, 68 Pirates, Feyenoord, and Fussmucker all entered in the draw. So good luck. Winner of 5 standard packs is going to .68 Pirate. Congratulations. I will send your name along and you should get those packs in your account at some point, probably before Thursday, probably earlier than that. It'll show up in your little transactions. You just go through there and it'll say custom event, 5 packs. So congratulations, 68 Pirate. And today's question will come a little bit later in the video. So make sure you enter. You can enter once per video. And if you win 5 videos in a row, then you just have the luck. So we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, July 1st, happy Canada Day. And Montreal Expos coming off a 9-8 victory in the last game against the Cincinnati Reds, scoring 4 runs in the 9th inning. And hey, maybe it'll come down to that one game, this game here, as the deciding game. Montreal has dropped back to 8 games, though. You know, anytime you get more than 5 games out, it's going to be really difficult to make that ground up. You've got 3 teams ahead of you. It's going to be tough. Let's go ahead to the beginning of August. Okay, getting close to crunch time here as we get closer to the playoffs and the end of the 1915 season. We have, again, a lot of different updates here. You can kind of see them on the screen if you want to see how some of these players are, advancing or regressing. I don't really pay a lot of attention to that. I look more at, each player individually or on the entire transaction screen. So I'll look a little bit more at this and their overall potential changing. But of course, some managers like to go really in depth and really look at those player development reports. And again, you can do that by going to your reports, player development report, and go back pretty much as far as you want. The past 3 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. OOTP is such a huge database of information that you can spend hours poring over the stats and details. And these videos are pretty long as they are, so we want to keep them kind of short and simple. So Montreal is leading the league in runs scored. We've got the best batting average, and we're 12 games out. So that tells me one of two things. Our pitching is really horrible, or our defense is really horrible. Probably both. Look at this. This is the frustrating part. Such a good offensive lineup. We're first in all these categories other than batter WAR, which is kind of weird. Being first in everything but down to fifth in WAR. I mean, home runs are not a big deal at this point in history. Stolen bases, we're doing okay. The base running, runs against, starter ERA, and defensive efficiency, we're eighth. So, I mean, pitching and defense. But I think pitching and defense are hand in hand. If you have great defense, it's going to improve your pitching. So we really need to make ground on defense, but we're in the drafts, we're not getting a lot of luck in these really high-end defensive players. And I made the mistake in the early drafts of going with offense rather than maybe a balance between offense and defense. Okay, so we are 12 games back right now. Not looking like we're going to get to the World Series. And I don't want to call players up. Again, Ken Griffey, he's doing well where he is, hitting .311. So we're going to go one more month and evaluate the whole league. We'll take a look at the leaderboard and some of the individual statistics. Let's go to September 1st. September 1st, and Montreal just can't make up any ground. We've got 3 teams dominating in the NL East, or in the NL right now: Brooklyn, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. And then everyone else. And over in the other league, we got Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, Washington, Chicago. So again, we're playing for a high draft pick, although I don't want every season to be, yay, we got a high draft pick. Woohoo! We won a championship. I want more of that. I don't want all these high draft picks. So right now we're at a .472 win percentage, which puts us pick number 7. Again, we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to make the World Series. So if we lose more games, I'm okay with that because it means a higher draft position. I mean, our ERA for our starters, not horrible. They're all under 3.08. They're all pretty close. Roy Halladay having a bad season. I just don't think there are any adjustments we can make right now that are going to improve the team that we have. Yeah, it's just keep drafting and hoping. I would say right now it's 1915. I'm going to give us a deadline of 1920. If we don't turn this team around by 1920, I don't know if we can continue much longer, because we should be able to do something in 5 years. So that's going to be my deadline. I might have to create a new series, although I don't want to. I think we can do this. But again, I made some mistakes drafting out of the gate, and it's costing us now. But I have faith. We're going to do it, chat. We're going to do it. by 1920. Again, in rookie ball right now, we've got Whitey Lockman, who we drafted round 1, pick number 5 last year. He was our first overall pick. He's lighting it up. 492. But he's just on fire. He's playing way above where he should be. His defense is above 0. But again, as a now 18-year-old, we're going to keep him the whole year. Keep him the whole year. Check out his history. A lot of Player of the Week awards. Had a 35 game hitting streak. Yeah, let's just let him dominate. I don't know how the engine works, if there's chemistry because of a good season. If he was 21 years old, I'd absolutely move him up. But 18? Nah, not to AA. Not yet. Also in Rookie League, it was cool. One of the viewers left a comment on the last video. They noticed in the draft, I was it this guy here? Was it Benny? Yeah, I think it was Benny. Yeah, Benny. Real fielding. Known kind of as one of the more recent left-handed catchers. That's what the viewer pointed out, that watching a ball game, this guy hit a triple, I think, in his first at-bat. And when you're, at the ballpark and you're watching these new players play and someone does something like that, they become meaningful for you. And so Benny DeStefano, for the winner of our draw from the last video, has a special place in this viewer's baseball memories. So that was a cool story to hear. You guys ever have cool stories about players that are on the team or that we drafted? I love hearing that. That's what makes these videos so fun, is when I can hear stories about these fantasy players in real life and some of the meaning they had to you. So he didn't have a great career. Played in Pittsburgh, it looks like his whole career. I don't know after that. Doesn't show the team there. But maybe if we go to batting. Okay, Houston. So there we go. Career 228 hitter, but had a special place in this viewer's baseball historical memories. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, let's go on to the playoffs, the end of the regular season. All right, and when I do my Twitch streams, I always talk about synchronicity. And no lie, as soon as I simmed ahead, this message popped up for my player development. Benny DeStefano. Of all the players on the team, the next player development has just one player, and it's the guy that I just mentioned. I tell you, that is so weird. So he has dropped a little bit in his development report, but I thought I'd mention that. So here we are at the beginning of the playoffs. Retiring players this year, Ed Napoleon. We drafted in the 1911 draft, round 10. So again, didn't expect anything out of him. Played a few games in rookie ball. He has retired at the age of 26. And in terms of our AAA players, Ben Ford, drafted in round 5, so a little bit, well, he's 35 years old though, so I guess that's expected. He did play some time in Montreal and a lot of years in AAA. So he's been with us almost from the beginning. 14-15 record for Ben Ford. And Scott Blewett. If you watch this series right from the very beginning, this was a guy I think we took in the inaugural draft. Yeah, it was in the inaugural draft. Picked him in round 6 of the inaugural draft. It was actually the first player draft. It was the first draft after the inaugural draft. And I just took him because of the name, Scott Blewett. How could you not have a Scott Blewett on your team as a reliever? It seems natural. So he played a few seasons in Montreal, went down to AAA where he finished his career, 36 years old, 3-5 record on the major league team. Probably could have kept him a little bit longer. But again, in Deadball Era, you just don't need that many pitchers. So he was one that we had to send down. So Scott Blewett, enjoy your retirement. And were there any others? I think that is it. Yeah, so let's take a look at the playoffs. It is going to be, I'll sim one more day ahead here, the Cleveland Guardians against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Pittsburgh, who were kind of hovering around second or third most of the season, they won the division by 2 games, the conference by 2 games, and Cleveland by 1 game. So we got 2 teams with almost identical records. Does this mean that they had to go to a 1-game playoff? Let's check out the schedule. Yes, they did. So Cleveland were tied with who was it? Cleveland and St. Louis. Yeah. Tied. They had to go to a game 1, or I guess this would be a play-in game. And it was a 4-1 victory for Cleveland. So that's why they've got that 1 game extra played. So Pittsburgh, Cleveland, identical records pretty much. I think it's going to go 6 games, and I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh in 6. So let's play it out. Well, I guess I called that one. It's been a real weird synchronicity type of episode. It really has. Pittsburgh does win in 6 games. And Pittsburgh will take game 1. Cleveland will take the next 2. Pittsburgh then will rattle off 3 in a row, 2-1, 3-2, and winning game 6, 6-3. AJ Burnett will be the World Series MVP, even though it was in a losing cause, which doesn't happen very often. So your Pittsburgh Pirates, here you see the lineup here, all the players that are celebrating a World Series victory. And that is going to be your trivia question for this episode. I want you to name any of the Pittsburgh Pirates from this team, from this screen right now. It could be a pitcher, it could be a hitter, it doesn't matter, as long as you don't name someone that was previously named in the comments. So make sure it's not a duplicate. Give me one of the World Series champion player names along with your PT username, and we'll enter you into the draw for 5 standard packs in the next episode. Congratulations, Pittsburgh. All right, let's go ahead to our awards and find out if the Montreal Expos are going to take home any of these awards. I don't think they will. Although we did have a really good offense. So let's see. Scott Stratton, 2nd in wins. Ted Kennedy, 1st in strikeouts. The Senator, man, we don't need term limits because the Senator is continuing to perform on this team. So let's check out the awards. We want to go to League History, History Index, and of course, we'll start with the AL. All right, Dan Brothers, his 6th MVP award. Taken 1st overall in the 1902 draft. And he has just been first ballot Hall of Fame, 100% of the vote, 32 years old. I think we might need to rename the award. We got Dan Brothers with 6, broken up by Emil Gross. Our Cy Young goes to Bump Hadley. Looks like his first Cy Young win. 21 years old, a 26-9 record. Ooh, he is going to be good. He also wins the Rookie of the Year, so first year full-time in the league, and he performs. Even looks like he can hit. 255 average, so he must have a two-way, kind of a two-way profile. Not really. More of a pitcher. But congratulations, Bump Hadley and Max Lanier. Or Lanier. is your reliever of the year. 7-6, 15 saves, a .57 ERA. Whew. Smoking. Max, I forget when you were drafted. Round 3 by Cleveland in 1910. Okay, let's go and check out the National League. So we want awards, National League. Your MVP, Jimmy Wood, his third MVP, 36-year-old. Congratulations. Good to see the old guys continuing to perform. 298 average, 6.9 WAR, 70 RBIs. And Pete, do we have to rename the award? Well, if Dan Brothers wins it one more time, we're renaming the Pete Browning Award to the Dan Brothers Award. Right now, they're tied with the most MVPs. Tom Morgan from Pittsburgh, your champion Pittsburgh Cy Young winner, 23-12, 1.6 walk per 9 inning, really outstanding, and a 6.8 WAR, 325 and 2/3 innings pitched. Johnny Frederick is your rookie of the year. Johnny Frederick was drafted in round 1, pick 3 overall by Brooklyn back in 1914. 277 average. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty deserving. And 2-time winner of reliever of the year, Michael Feliz, 34 years old, 5-2, 16 saves, and pitching for the Chicago Cubs. He's been in the league quite a bit. He's been here since 1902. Outstanding. Could be a Hall of Fame candidate. 2-time winner of the reliever of the year. All right, we're going to go ahead to the Hall of Fame and take a look at who we have to nominate. Again, over the last couple years, we've kind of taken a look at Lenny Dykstra and whether he deserves to be in. Let's see if we have any Expos. We do have a couple on the ballot, but let's see if they're going to get voted in this year. Here we go. Lots of players to choose from. Okay, let's look at the Hall of Fame metrics first of all. Who has the highest? 52.6 for Johnny Footsie Markham. Played with Philadelphia. Again, we don't have trades on, so players are going to play their entire career with one team. Let's go with loyalty. 184 wins, 166 losses. ERA of 2.77. Has not won any awards. That's going to hurt him a little bit. No World Series championships, no Cy Youngs, but he does have our highest metrics. And because of that, we're going to put him in. 4 Gold Gloves for Buzz Boyle. Great defender. Nothing really outstanding. Don't think we're going to put him in just for that defense. If he had, something else that we could highlight, maybe. 3 World Series trophies for Larry Christensen. 120 wins, 87 losses. I think maybe this is a guy that, look at all these accomplishments. 2-hit shutout, 6-hit, 4-hit shutout. Yeah, I'm going to nominate Larry Christensen. Lenny Dykstra, 4 Gold Gloves, 2 World Series. So again, he's going to get the edge over Buzz Boyle. He's got some championships. I'm going to keep nominating him. Who else? Don Little, 2 World Series, 1 playoff MVP, slightly higher win record than loss record, but I don't think quite gets there. Metrics are still a little bit too low. And then we have a reliever, Kyle Whalen from Montreal. Yeah, Kyle, sorry, I can't put you in. I can't play favorites. And Kerry Wood, 2 World Series trophies, 1 playoff MVP, 53.4 metric. So I guess if we put footsie in, we got to put Kerry Wood in. You know, very similar careers. Except Kerry Wood has the trophies behind him. So I would almost, I'm going to take Markham off because I think Kerry Wood deserves it more. 217 wins, 203 losses. I think Christensen deserves it more, even though his metrics are lower. He's got those World Series trophies. So there's our ballot. Christensen, Dykstra, and Kerry Wood. Let's go ahead and give you a preview of the next player draft. Okay. The moment of truth. I don't know if we're a lottery team. Let's check out the standings here. Montreal, again, who are Boston. Every year I have to change that back to Montreal. So I will do that at the end of the episode here. 71 and 83 record. We are not in a lottery position. We are number 6. So we're going to have the number 6 pick. So let's find out who wins this year's draft lottery. Picking number 1, moving up from number 4, will be the Philadelphia Athletics. And Philadelphia is celebrating because both their teams get back-to-back picks. The Phillies drop from 1 to 2, and the Athletics move from 4 to 1. The Reds drop to number 3, and the Boston Red Sox will drop to number 4. And in terms of who we're going to see, what names are we going to see in this draft? Well, let's take a preview. 5-star potential. First baseman, Harry Stovey. Great speed. Defense is lacking. The Expos are not interested. 21-year-old Al Rosen. No defense. Great build potential. You're taking a huge risk on a 21-year-old with so much development to go. If he was 17, I'd be really interested. But this is too risky. The Expos can't afford a risky pick like this. So we do not want Al Rosen. 22-year-old Tilly Walker. Corner outfielder, which we don't have a big need for. Great speed, but again, 22, half a star potential, a half a star overall, too risky. Do not want Tilly Walker. Chris Bryant, 21 years old, almost completely developed. So far, he would be my first pick. Defense, we haven't seen any good defensive players. So he's on the radar. Third baseman. Shortstop. Great speed. Look at that speed. He's going to steal a ton of bases. The profile is pretty good. And is he better than Joe Sewell? 50 range. 60, 60, 65. Arguably, but that speed, plus he could take over for Joel Sewell after maybe a year in AAA. So I think he's jumped to my first choice if he's there. David Wright, developed, 19 years old, okay defense, just kind of Didi Gregorius, again, I would rather have the other shortstop. And then our first pitcher, Mike Scott, 22 years old. Not a fan of the movement, but look at this guy. He's got 6 different pitches. Only a 3-star potential, so there's quite the drop-off. Frank Thomas, of course, the real Frank Thomas. What a career. Like if this guy develops to the real Frank Thomas, but again, the defense is not quite there. 55 range in center field. And right now in center field, we have Juan Pierre, a little bit better defensively. And he was a negative zone rating. So still not good enough for that premier defensive ability in center field. And finally, we don't really need a catcher, but Mike Scioscia's there. So I'm thinking Bryant, Shugart, maybe David Wright. Not looking hopeful for an all-star player. Of course, we don't know which other players are in the draft. We will do that in the next episode. We'll look at the mock draft. We'll go through the draft. We'll play the opening day of the season. But we're going to end it here. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, just leave a little like there. That helps promote the video and gets other people watching. And enter the contest. Good luck. Congratulations to 68 Pirate for winning the last contest. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself and take care of those around you because, everyone could use a little bit of help, even if it's just a smile, opening the door for them, letting someone walk in front of you into a building. Kindness matters. We'll see you next episode.